What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be talking about my EDC and the belt that I use for EDC. And these are two items that I use for self-defense and everyday carry that I've definitely switched up since the last video I made. I've pretty much switched up almost everything I've used, so I figured I'd do an update, and I also want to talk about a pretty cool product that got sent to me a couple of months ago. So first things first, let's talk about the belt. The belt is the Core Essentials Trakline belt. This is maybe the coolest belt I've ever reviewed. Now, it's not a new product per se, but it's new to me. I looked at it before and kind of was like, it's a belt's a belt, right? With this belt, I believe that I made a mistake in that logic because it doesn't hook up the same way a traditional belt would with your standard belt loops. What it actually does is it's got this track here on the rear, and it's got this little locking mechanism, as you see here. You just stick the belt in like that, and then you can use this to loosen it or just tighten it, however much you want to tighten it. It holds there. Then if you want to loosen it, you just hit this switch and it just pulls right back out. Some of the advantages that you'll see with this belt, first with the Trakline system, is that you don't have to continue putting loops in your belt. If you decide to eat healthy for a couple of weeks and lose a few pounds, you won't have to adjust your belt at all. You can just simply move it in and it goes all the way down to here, so you have a wide length of adjustment. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick before I continue is that you actually cut this belt to your own specifications. It comes with one size. It comes in a box just like this guy right here. And as you see, this is a belt that is uncut, and all you do is take this, you find your equipment here that's in here somewhere, belt loop right here, and it's got this little grabby thing on the end of it, and all you do is stick the belt in there, ram it down and press it down, and it's locked in there. Now, I was a little worried at first that that wasn't going to be as strong, but it's incredibly strong so far. I mean, I've pulled on it and tested it and nothing has moved, and it'll keep you nice and safe in case you fall off a cliff and somebody has to grab your belt. You're good to go. The other nice thing about it is an EDC belt, which is nice. It is a gun belt, and the meaning behind that is that it's very stiff in comparison to usual belts. Not as stiff as something like an Aries belt, but if you're not carrying around an M60, you don't really need that anyway. And the positives of this over something like an Aries belt is that it doesn't look like you're carrying an M60. It looks just like an average regular belt, and it is a nice looking belt as well. I have used this belt several times now with a dress shirt tucked in, where you can see the belt pretty clearly, and nobody knew that it was a gun belt or anything like that. Nobody mentioned anything. It just looks like a 1.5-inch standard dress belt, but it just happens to be strong enough to carry your pistol all day without having to worry about it. So I would definitely recommend this product. I've tested it thoroughly. I've used it for about 2 months now. This is my everyday belt and no issues at all. I actually really prefer it because you don't have any slack or slop in your belt. Sometimes you get in between notches, you lose a couple pounds, gain a couple pounds, then your belt kind of fits funny. Not the case with this. Very small increments of tightness there, and you can find the exact size you want. I'm really excited about it, and I think it'll be pretty tough to go back to a regular belt after this. Another thing I wanted to talk about really quick is my Glock 43, my stipple job, right? That's another thing lots of people have commented on. I stippled this myself with a wood burner that I got on eBay or something like that. Really easy to do, time consuming, but easy to do. I was getting tired of the Town grips. They were just a little bit rough. This is a little bit smoother than that. I went with really fine holes, so it was smooth and holds just enough texture for me to get a good grip on the gun without having to worry about having my stomach rubbed off. So that's kind of nice. I put the strips on both sides because you do have to shoot with both hands. Well, I did the magazine as well. I do run the Glock 43 almost exclusively with a +1 magazine from Pierce Grips, just because that's the first one I bought. It's incredibly reliable so far, and I really like how it helps me draw the pistol. I think drawing the pistol is extremely important, more important than any other category almost, because even reliability doesn't matter if you don't get it out of the holster. So draw is very important. This helps me draw quickly. New holster as well I've been trying out. I really, really like it for a couple of different reasons. This is the Appendix carry holster from Telluric Group. The guy named John Lovell, I follow his YouTube channel. He's a great YouTuber. I got a video coming up pretty soon about gun tubers that should be pretty interesting. But he works for this company, and he used this holster in one of his videos, and I was like, I need a new Appendix holster. I'm going to try that out. So I got one with the full sweat guard this time. I usually don't like that. I haven't minded it this time. The other thing I really like about it over something like the Incog holster that I had, the Incog holster has clips on it that push your belt away, so it's easier to draw, but it also makes it more uncomfortable throughout the day. This holster is more comfortable, and I don't really sacrifice too much in draw time, really. I can still draw pretty fast with this holster. The other cool thing that I forgot to show on camera, I'll do a full review of all this stuff, by the way, but I just wanted to give you an update of what I'm using, what I'm testing right now, is that it comes with this weird clip that I've been using to clip to my mesh shorts. If I go on a walk at night in basketball shorts or something like that, I'll clip that on there and use this for my holster for my basketball shorts, which is kind of neat. The other thing, the thing I got the most questions about is my Ka-Bar knife. Yep, this is a Ka-Bar TDI knife, I believe. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But it came with this awesome NSR holster that I got from NSR Tactical, which makes this knife another level of cool in my opinion. One of the things I didn't like about this knife originally was the sheath. It's a nice high quality sheath, but it holds it in a less comfortable way on your belt, I feel like. This way sideways, it's actually easier for me to draw quickly. Not only that, but it makes it a lot more concealable, which is really important when carrying a fixed blade knife. A fixed blade knife has a huge amount of advantages over a folding knife and one big disadvantage. The advantages first are that you don't have to fold it. It's extremely difficult to unfold a folding knife in a fighting type situation. If you're going to be using your knife, chances are if you're carrying a gun, it's going to be your backup choice. So you're already going to be tied up, you're going to be grappling, things like that. And if you've ever taken any combatives classes with like fake knives, or if you've ever taken, just messed around with doing some jiu-jitsu with knives or stuff like that, you realize pretty quickly that if somebody's pounding on your head or putting you in a choke, it's pretty difficult to articulate that knife and get it out of there. It's much easier just to pull this guy and get to work. So that's a big plus. The other plus is it won't break. The strongest folding knives in the world are still probably not as strong as your average fixed blade knife that has the blade all the way down the handle. So that's another big plus. I also like it because it's short, sweet, easy to maneuver, and it still does a huge amount of damage. People are like, well, I would never carry a 2-inch knife. Well, there's videos on YouTube of some guy, I forget what, maybe I'll put it in the description below, of a guy cutting the crap out of a deer carcass with this and doing some huge amount of damage with this tiny little easy to draw knife. And I can't stress enough, I feel the same way about my knives as I do about my guns. If you can't draw it and get it into the fight, there's no point in having it. So I think the NSR Sheath really helps out with that. Maybe I'll do a full review. Maybe this will just be it. There's not really much else to say. I think it's like 75 bucks. I don't remember if I mentioned it. The belt is 60 bucks, and this holster is somewhere between 40 and 60 as well, I think. I also like gray, in case you haven't noticed. But I think this might be the best as far as self-defense goes, EDC knife. I will still carry my Spyderco off and on for sure when I don't want to carry quite as much like this, or if I don't feel like I'm going into a threatening area or anything like that. The Spyderco is a really great EDC knife as well, but if you want something more geared toward self-defense instead of like everyday use, this is a great option. If you like this video and want to see more videos about everyday carry, like types of draw, different types of holsters and knife combinations, stuff like that, please leave it in the comment section below. Please help out your local homeless shelters and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.